In the metals quadrant today, copper was up over 1% on the highs, falling off a little bit toward the end of the day, actually quite a bit. We ended up a little bit more than 1/4%. So I'm calling it virtually unchanged. And it's an interesting story when you consider that copper is basically a proxy for the U.S.-China trade tensions. That has less of an effect as China continues to increase stimulus, which they've done 3 times since the trade tensions have kind of heightened. 2 of them in the form of just a release of about 400 billion yuan in general in the banking system, and then some incentives for banks to lend more. So that's been part of what's causing copper to rally this week, which it has done. Demand assets all had a relatively good day considering the trade tensions. You look at crude oil was up, copper was up, iron ore was up. Stock market was up. So when you look from a perspective of global demand, all of those assets seem to have a good day. Now, a lot of this may have to do with the lessening of trade tensions between the U.S. and the EU. Some good news on the trade front with the USMCA, which is the deal that President Trump reached with Mexico and Canada that the Congress still has to ratify. So that might be part of why demand assets are up a little bit. And then kind of a no news is good news thing, although we did have some news that could be misconstrued by China as being anti-trade, and that's the essential banning of Huawei from doing business in the U.S. with their electronics. And that's something that is going to play out over the next few days. President Trump signed an executive order giving that authority to the Commerce Secretary, and the Commerce Secretary immediately named Huawei as one of the companies that it was going to restrict in terms of doing business in the U.S. So that's definitely a negative toward trade. Again, U.S. administration saying it's not related. And lastly, the dollar, which has an inverse relationship to copper when all else is equal, which is clearly not right now, but it still had 4 consecutive sessions higher. And with copper up, it's flying in the face of those correlations. Just an example of how it has that inverse correlation when all else is equal, but you can get rid of that relationship when all else is not equal, as it was not today.